So I came across this movie I'd never heard of. It stars George Clooney and Adam Sandler. Don't worry, this is not an Adam Sandler film, TM. It is a Noah Baumbach film, writer of both Barbie and Marriage Story. Do you think if Barbie and Marriage Story had come out the same weekend, we would have gotten Barbie Story instead of Barbenheimer?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It also stars Laura Dern, Billy Crudup, as well as Emily Mortimer, who co-wrote it with Baumbach. The film, Jay Kelly, is about a famous movie actor named Jay Kelly, played by George Clooney. Jay and his manager Ron, played by Adam Sandler, go on a journey of self-discovery. Just released on Netflix, there will be spoilers. We open with a Sylvia Plath quote from her journals. It is a hell of a responsibility to be yourself. It's much easier to be somebody else or nobody at all. This film focuses a lot on identity, and it relates to our main character being an actor. We open on this movie set for Jay's latest film. Everyone is setting up. Manager Ron is talking to his daughter, and Adam Sandler's actual daughter, who is anxious about an upcoming tennis match, and Jay is getting makeup done. Jay shoots the 11th take of the final scene of some noir type film, and is interrupted by the dog that Jay asked to be in the scene. John Wick, he is not. His character says he wants to leave the party, that part of him has already passed. Of course, this will turn out to be how Jay the man feels too. He says that when your time comes, everything you thought you were turns out to be untrue. Jay is not very confident in his performance, so the director gives him a pep talk. Walking off set, Ron's manager lies to Jay, saying he watched the scene and it was great, just like they showed him likely lying to his kid that he would be at their game. To show the type of person Jay is, he asks why there's always a piece of cheesecake in his trailer. Ron says it's on his rider, and of course Jay denies this. Gaslighting Jay Kelly, they used to call him.
Don't gaslight me.
Gaslighting doesn't exist, you made it up because you're fucking crazy.
Jay arranged a fancy dinner at a restaurant, assuming his daughter Daisy would want to come, but she of course would rather her friends.
You know, fathers don't like to admit it when their daughters are capable of running their own lives. It means we've become spectators.
She told him she had a Europe trip with friends planned for the summer. He says he thought it was July. Nope, she told him June, which is the upcoming Saturday. Ron tells Jay a guy named Peter died, and we get a flashback of them cooking dinner. They talk about how memories are movies and that movies are just pieces of time. Peter asks him to do a film because he needs money, but Jay turns him down. We cut to Peter's funeral for exposition from his son. He tells us Peter went bankrupt 3 times, had to sell all of his assets, which makes Jay seem like a jerk for saying no to helping him.
Look what you did, you little jerk!
Peter's last words were, "I know how the movie ends. It's about love." Now whether or not this is truly his deathbed confession is another story, but that's all we can hope for. To go out surrounded by loved ones, remembering the love we gave and received in our lives. David, Peter's son, gave Jay a neckerchief Peter wanted him to have, and he just gives it away, like he's Luke Skywalker. Jay goes for a drink with his old film school roommate, who looks like Michael Bay, where they talk about when you're dying, stuff like money and power and success no longer feel real because they no longer matter.
I like money!
Billy Crudup as Timothy here does a fantastic job as he reads a menu like he's sad. Jay talks about feeling like he missed his daughter growing up now that she's leaving. Tim says of parenting, "We have only made ourselves successful once we become irrelevant." Tim then reveals that he's actually not like Jay for a long time, saying he stole his life because Jay got cast in a role he should have gotten. Oh yeah, and Jay stole his girl back then too. Jay of course storms out to run away. Tim tells him that his daughter Jessica agrees with him about who Jay is. Isn't it problematic for a 45-year-old man to be Facebook friends with his college roommate's daughter?
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
As Jay is going to his car, Tim pulls the shoulder move, reminding me of...
Excuse me, bro. You're excused.
Tim tried to fight Jay, but Batman knocks him out with one hit. But what's brilliant about the scene is the sudden cut the editors use. As he swings, we get a tennis ball sound and a sharp cut to Ron at his daughter Vivian's tennis match, which I stand corrected, he showed up to. Wearing the neckerchief, this Fred looking dude. They're actually playing doubles against another father-daughter team. He gets a call from Liz who says, "It's urgent." Laura Dern's Liz is Jay's publicist. His kid, the whole phone call, keeps calling his name like he's Stewie.
Louis! 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 Mom! Mom! Mom!
Liz tells him Jay wants to drop out of his next movie. It's Adam Sandler's actual kid, Sadie Sandler. The urgent concern Jay's son had, by the way, was what ghosts are, which he is told by his mom, Lois, that they're dead people with unfinished business. Yes, the kid's mom is even named Lois.
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name.
Ron forfeits his daughter's match as he rushes off to Jay's house to solve his so-called personal crisis. Jay is packing to go to Paris, tells Ron he's coming, just like that, no warning or consent. Jay had his PA find out where his daughter and friends are staying in Paris, which is of course a major violation of her privacy and personhood, to follow them and just show up, the two of you, brothers in Paris. Jay says he will explain the black eye on the plane. Ron points out his daughter doesn't want her famous father following her around Europe, which Jay promptly ignores. Jay drives to a private airport with a 5-car entourage. Liz and Ron are on the phone, but right beside each other, discussing a tribute Jay said no to, being offered to someone else. The tribute ceremony is the whole excuse Jay is using to follow his daughter to Italy after France. So now there's going to be 2 ceremonies, but only 1 physical award. I'm sure Jay will be totally reasonable about it.
Oh, wow!
On his plane, there's even nuts and fruit and cheesecake because apparently his rider applies to all day every day of his whole life, not just on set. Because of course it does. When asked about his black eye, Jay tells Ron essentially,
A good question for another time.
that he will tell him in France. In a surreal scene, Jay walks out of the plane mid-flight, stepping out into a memory of himself as a young actor. The scene is Jay in acting school on stage being told his performance was too stiff and full of posturing. The instructor says he wants to feel more rawness in the performance. Jay asks, "So I just be myself?" And Teach asks, "Do you know how hard it is to be yourself?" Again, fantastic dialogue writing.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
It insists upon itself.
What does that even mean?
It takes forever getting in. You spend like 6.5 hours, and then, I can't even get through. I can't even finish a movie. I've never even seen the ending.
You've never seen the ending?
Jay looks on as he hears the advice that the better an actor can lie convincingly in a role, the more successful an actor will be. Tim is in this memory too. Tim's girlfriend, the one who Jay stole, tells Jay to go with him to his audition for the role that Jay stole. Tim asks Jay to read with him in the audition. Tim fails horrifically. Jay convinces them to let him read too. So then Jay does so well that he gets the part. As Tim walks out, Jay, still watching the memory, finally sees from Tim's perspective and how hurt he felt. And so he sees grown-up Tim in the doorway instead. Back to the present, we get a montage of Jay getting ready and covering up his black eye. They land in Paris and Ron finds out they're making a second trophy.
I already know exactly where I'm going to put that trophy.
The whole entourage then has to go by train to Italy, so they all drive to the station. This guy on the train tells his buddy he's an atheist who supports the established church. Buddy answers, if there were no God, life would be absurd, and he agrees. Interesting contradiction. The dude bros recognize Jay by the huge crowd that's now formed around him. But also, if you're looking for Waldo, I think I found his long-lost twin. He spots his daughter and calls out to her before boarding. In a sweet moment, Jay looks at different passengers and smiles, like with this lady and her wet ham sandwich. Look how happy it makes her. Okay, she's clearly not fully with us. She pulls out a pepper shaker for her cucumber and cheese sandwich and single unseasoned chicken drumstick. Then this lady he watches put lipstick on. And she smiles like she just met George Clooney or something. The creepy lady asks Jay if he will be using the same bathroom, and he says he'll try to put the seat down. Ron tries to convince Jay to invite his dad to the tribute ceremony, as Dee Snider's illegitimate love child looks on. Liz just found out about Jay punching Timothy earlier, and Tim's nose is broken. This woman asks if being famous is like being crazy because people are always talking about and looking at you. Jay says, yes it is. He then asks the entire train who they are and where they're going. He casually invites the whole train to go to his award ceremony. Jay asks himself, how can I play people when I can't see people or touch people? Hilariously, Liz says, don't touch people. Again, good writing here. Jay is then informed that Tim, who is a child therapist, is suing for the bar fight. He goes to the bathroom and practices saying his own name because He is of course still masking, not being his authentic self. Another beautiful transition here. He even says other names like, I don't know, John Wayne, to like compare himself to them, I guess. Jay turns to leave and walks into another memory. He was visiting his daughter Jessica in San Diego.
I'm gonna go out jacking it in San Diego.
They talk about the past. He says he's happy for her and offers to help pay her rent. She then says, hey, let's go for a drive. But surprise, she is actually taking them to an appointment with her therapist.
Well, what are the things you're interested in, Stewie?
Me? Well, I like to talk about world domination.
The most hipster therapist possible. He's an ex-surfer. She calls the doctor by his first name, Carter. She wrote a letter to her dad from her 10-year-old self. Jessica accuses Jay of abandoning her, and Carter suggests maybe Jay trying not to be like his own dad got in the way of his own fatherhood. I dislike this form of therapy where it all comes down to your parents. It's not always that simple. She expresses how Jay says he wants to be with her but doesn't show it in his actions. So a babysitter showed her a movie her dad made where he played a happy good father, and it made her want that ideal father instead of the Jay she got at home. Jay of course storms out. She tells him he didn't spend time with her. Back on the train, this guy really loves his ice cream. Liz says that Jay isn't really their friend. He never invites her or Ron to things unless he needs something. She points out that they may see him as a friend, but Jay doesn't see them as friends. A true narcissist. Jay then watches his daughter make out. They play the sweet music, but no, George, it's creepy. He actually walks up to them like this, like she'd be happy to see him invading her privacy. Her boyfriend asks Daisy what it's like having Jay Kelly as a father. She says she knows him too well to tell. BF declares Jay a hero of cinema. Jay also invites all her friends to be at his tribute. He says how it's weird to see her being so independent. Well, yeah, you follow her to Paris. She tells Dad that she's decided she wants to act after her experiences in Paris. She wants to go be in a movie her BF is making, but Jay says she's going to college first. Just can't let go, can he? This is the second time they did this gag. Every time she says to Jay that he's never alone, someone shows up to hand him a drink. When she finds out how Dad tracked her, she tells her friend that their mom is tracking them through her credit card.
Peter, give me the credit card.
How'd you find out?
Two of the staff, including Liz, decide to leave. Liz and Ron have a romantic history they discuss. He was going to propose to her one night, but she ran out of the restaurant. She says how Jay will always come first, so they will never be a just them. And then the Queen of Mixed Signals just kisses him. Ron's wife calls him as Vivian's feet are swollen. She tells her dad she had to wear Crocs because she can't fit into her Jordans. Rich people problems. Once again, this kid stealing the show, saying her feet look like big blimps. They pull into the doctor's. He then tells his dad he thinks he may love mom more. This kid is the greatest. As his daughter's letter echoes through his mind, Jay finds himself in another memory. It's of himself in that movie his daughter spoke of. Jay and his co-star talk about how awkward and embarrassing love scenes are to film. The creepy director is actually telling them what to do from this close. Then she farted.
Finally.
Jay says how Jessica was just born, he was married, but still stayed on set to spend time with his pretend family. They end up kissing for real during the filming, and Jay's wife leaves him and takes Jessica to another state. His co-star quit acting after everything as well. Our biker buddies comment on Italy being a place where people feel more free to be themselves. One of the bikers steals this lady's handbag.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Jay, of course, decides to go after him. The thief pulled the emergency brake, then jumped out, and Jay and Ron chase him through this field. He gets the bag back, and of course everyone says he's a hero in real life, just like in his movies. Clearly unwell man says, "Stop looking at me and talking about me all the time." A callback to an earlier line. Ron is reading a bedtime story to his son over the phone. At least he's trying to be a good dad. Jay must be learning something because he sees Daisy on a bus and all he says is, "Have fun."
When the working day is done, girls just wanna have fun.
Ron tells Jay of all the legal stuff he has to do about the lawsuit. A woman with a sign calls Jay Caterpillar Man. I don't know why, maybe the eyebrows. Says his daddy is waiting for him. Ron, of course, called Jay's father to come to Italy because he wouldn't do it. Even this lady brought Jay a piece of cheesecake, But if you're gonna request it, why plain? What about cherry or blueberry? What's your favorite type? Ron has to get to a meeting with the other actor he represents, the other guy the ceremony's for, Ben Alcock. Jay's father has the crowd eating out of his hand, bragging about what great shape he's in.
Built like a sponge? Well, now you too can have muscles. Huh? With anchor arms!
Who do you think wears their dentures better? Or is it me? This eclectic group of weirdos, all one by one, get way too close to Jay's face and talk about how great his daddy is. More cheesecake! Italian cheesecake has got to be amazing though. Patrick Wilson or George Clooney? Have to say, I'd go with Ben Alcock here. Ron is shocked when Ben says he doesn't get enough of him.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Ron asks how he can improve as his manager and promptly gets fired. Ron practically begs to keep him as a client, and they both get super emotional as both men are in need of money for their lives and families. And calls his wife. Apparently his daughter's swollen feet are worsened due to her picking up on his stress. As he's crying and telling his wife about what he's going through, she says she saw something about Jay on page 6. Jay at the dinner party has bought his dad a very expensive cashmere sweater, but the man just gives it back. Suddenly, someone gets a text and passes their phone around, clearly reading something about Jay. But it's good news instead. There's a video of him tackling that guy and getting the purse back. That's gone viral online. Gotta love the internet age, right? Public opinion is either your enemy or your best friend. They chose this really young photo of Jay for this gigantic mural at the party. So Jay's team informs him that the lawsuit is no longer an issue because they dug up some old drug charge Timothy had. I'm sure that looked real good in his profession.
Drugs? I meant, are you in here for drugs?
Jay actually shows some growth and maturity and says he'd like to apologize to him. Ron told them he'd be on set that Monday, and Jay begins arguing, saying he doesn't want the part anymore. Jay just says he's going dancing, but Ron's super upset, says he doesn't know how to be a friend, and I quote,
If you fuck yourself, you're fucking me.
What's your profanity?
Ron then says, I wish you were the man I thought you were, and that really hits hard. To show how truly done he is, Ron throws in the metaphorical towel, or in this case the neckerchief, which he throws in Jay's face. We then get a face cam dance montage for some reason, the kind of dancing George is way too old for. His dad's driver interrupts and tells Jay his father is sick in the restaurant. She said he was eating spaghetti and doing yoga, so forget hot yoga, try spaghetti yoga. Become one with the meatball. Jay is crestfallen here. His dad said he wants to go home. Jay asked him to stay for the tribute, but he just walks away. It's amazing how, no matter how old we get, we still need our dads. Jay even chases after the car like he's 5 years old.
Daddy wasn't there.
There's just so much heart and emotion in these performances. Like, this shot is great.
If I was going somewhere, I was running.
3 vans pull up beside Jay, and it's the Alcock crew. Ben hugs and congratulates him. This man brought like 4 generations. He even said he brought Nana and No-No. Dude, it's not the Oscars. A lot of this man's influence and his decisions to fire Ron is clearly his wife, finishing his sentences for him, but Ron is stating how he needs someone more, I guess, stable as a manager. Friends do not take 15%, his wife says. Good old Alcock says that Ron felt too much like his dad, but he's not family, and the lady says not friends either.
Yes, he's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger.
She nominates Jay for president and seriously asks him if he'd run. Jay says Ben can have his extra tickets for his family, he only needs 1 now. This man wanders into a dark Italian forest that night to call his daughter Jess. Jay apologizes for the last time they met, that he doesn't like her head doctor guy. But look at this, they have her superimposed into the shot to convey their conversation visually. The DP on Jay Kelly is Linus Sandgren, who also worked on Saltburn, Don't Look Up, the last Bond movie, so that explains the wonderful visuals and shot choices. He invites her to the event, but she says he's just doing that because he thinks she'll forgive him. But I think... Jay confesses that he chose the movies, the career, over her because there is no other way. Jess responds saying her 10-year-old self is giving him the finger. She declares she's going to have a good life, but not with him. The final wound is she says goodbye Jay, not Dad. Jay, fully broken, defeated, falls to his knees. He catches up to Ron's cab before he leaves and apologizes. Ron sets healthy boundaries, says I love ya, but I can't work with you professionally anymore. Jay says he's the only one he really wants at the tribute, and Ron says he's the only one there is now. Would their ship name be J-Ron? Is this a thing, hiding graves with a Sharpie? Because his makeup person quit, Ron has to do that too. But I noticed a little bit of a plot issue here, a plot hole, in that he just gave all his tickets away except for one, so how does Ron have a ticket? We see a bunch of D.H. Clooney for a montage of all Jay's action films. Every type of action cliche is here. Ron and Jay smile at each other and hold hands as they were a team. J-Ron lives! The obligatory single tear from Ronald. And suddenly he's watching himself watch his daughters put on a play in the yard. But of course he's half watching as he's heading out the door, again. They give Jay a standing ovation. He looks right into the camera and says, "Can we go again? I'd like another one." Okay, now that is how you end this type of movie. The older I get, the more I appreciate films with maturity, that are well written and also have heart. This is one of those movies. The shot composition, the score, the dialogue, it's all great and uses its many stars in a very balanced way. Adam Sandler, when he's in dramatic roles, not Sandler films like Billy Madison, he's fantastic. If he isn't producing it, it's really amazing. Of course, Happy Gilmore will always be a work of art. Sandler and Clooney have great chemistry, and Sadie Sandler was also decent here. I think Clooney, at his age, was perfectly cast. I enjoyed this movie a lot, but I want to hear your thoughts, so let me know down in the comments.